2012 has been a fantastic year for film. There's been so many great movies that have come out, and it was really, really difficult for me to narrow it down to 10. But here's my top 10 best films of 2012. I just want to start out by saying that I have not seen every film that came out in 2012. It's kind of hard to do that. There's a lot of movies that have come out, and I haven't seen them all. So there's going to be some movies that aren't on this list. Things like Zero Dark 30, Beasts of the Southern Wild, Holy Motors. I hear they're all great, but I haven't seen them, so they're not going to be on this list. Up until about an hour ago, my list was actually a top 15 list, so there's about 5 or 6 movies that I really wanted on this list. I can only have 10. And also keep in mind that it's really hard to rank movies. It's hard to say this one is better than this one, because movies are different from one another, and so keep that in mind, because there are films that, depending on the day, could be higher. It's just how it is. And your top 10 list might be completely different from mine, and that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But these are my picks. Alright, let's get down to business. Number 10 is the latest film from the director of Brick, Rian Johnson, Looper. I love this movie. I thought it was completely original. I love Rian Johnson's directing. I love the script. It was a great movie that was just refreshing to watch. I thought it was a really different take on time travel movies, and it acknowledged the fact that it was a time travel movie and kind of how ridiculous that subject can get. It was a darn good movie with great performances, great direction, solid flick. Number 9 is a film that completely deconstructed the horror genre, The Cabin in the Woods. This film was my favorite horror film of the year and was almost my favorite comedy of the year. I thought this film was so original. It was really smart. The writing, Joss Whedon did such a fantastic job writing this film, and I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was scary when it needed to be, and I love the way that it poked fun at bad horror movies. It kind of pointed out the common cliches that you find in horror films and then just goes in a completely different direction, and I loved that. It was very self-aware and very intelligent. Great movie. If you haven't seen The Cabin in the Woods, you need to see it. It's great. Number 8 on my list is a film that stars a whole lot of people, a lot of great actors, but most importantly, Batman. The Dark Knight Rises. I love Christopher Nolan, I love his take on the Batman trilogy, and I think this was a very fine conclusion to that series. I love the scope of this film, I loved Bane, I loved Batman of course. This film was very exciting and it was a very fun experience even after multiple viewings. That being said, I definitely acknowledge that there are some issues with the film, especially in the third act in my opinion, but overall it's a really darn good movie and it was a nice conclusion to that series. So I really like The Dark Knight Rises, and that's why it's 8 on this list. Number 7 on this list is the third film from a director that I never thought would be making really darn good movies, Ben Affleck's Argo. I don't own this movie yet, so I don't have that as a visual aid, but here's a poster of it. There you go. This film was a very pleasing theater experience. It was thrilling, it was exciting, it was funny, absolutely hilarious. Ben Affleck has proven that he knows what he's doing in the director's chair with this movie, and I just can't wait to see what he does next. Argo was excellent. Up until about a week before this came out, I had never seen a James Bond film ever in my life, so I did not know what to expect. Number 6 is Skyfall. This film was incredible. I love Sam Mendes as a director, I love Daniel Craig as Bond, and I adore Roger Deakins as a cinematographer. This film was absolutely gorgeous. This film was fun, it was exciting, it had some depth for an action movie, the acting is excellent, and it just looked beautiful. I loved Skyfall, and I cannot wait to buy it on Blu-ray. Now we're getting down to the good stuff. Here's my top 5. Number 5 is a small independent comedy that I didn't catch until about 3 months after it came out on Blu-ray. It's a movie about romance and time travel. What more could you ask for? Safety Not Guaranteed. This one completely flew under my radar when it came out. I live in Houston and I don't even know if it was playing anywhere near me. I have a soft spot for these small little movies. I thought this one was really funny. I thought it had some heart when it needed to. It almost brought me to tears at certain points. It had characters that I actually cared about, a premise that was really interesting, and it was just an original movie and I really dug it. If you have not seen Safety Not Guaranteed, I definitely think you should check it out. Number 4 on my list is a film by one of my favorite directors that hasn't made a movie in a long time, so I was really excited to see this one, The Master. This film's directed by Paul W.S. It's a very good thing that this film was directed by Paul Thomas Anderson and not the other Paul Anderson that has a W.S. in the middle of those two names. Paul Thomas Anderson did a fantastic job directing this film. The movie just looks absolutely gorgeous. It's a really breathtaking experience in the theater, and it has my favorite performance of the year. Joaquin Phoenix just absolutely dominates this film. It took more than one viewing for me to fully grasp this film because there's a whole lot going on, and it's really hard to take all that in one viewing. Because of that, I can't really fully recommend this film, but it is one of my favorites of the year, and that's why it's on this list. I'm not ashamed to say that number 3 on this list is the first film that's ever brought me to tears while watching it in theaters. Perks of Being a Wallflower. This film is based on a novel written by Stephen Chbosky, I believe. I'm saying that name off the top of my head. If I got it wrong, I apologize. But he also wrote and directed this film, and he did a phenomenal job. This film just really touched me emotionally. The characters in this film are just so well drawn out, and you care about everything that happens to them. Even the good things, you're just like, you get chills just because something good happened to these characters and you're really excited for them. When a film makes you feel that way about a certain character, it definitely did something right. And I loved every minute of this film. I didn't want it to end. I can't wait to see this one again. It was really good. Number 2 on this list is a film from another one of my favorite directors, Quentin Tarantino, Django Unchained. I saw this movie on opening night in a packed theater, and it was just an absolute blast. If you've seen my review over Django, then you know that I love Quentin Tarantino, and Pulp Fiction is my favorite movie, and Reservoir Dogs is close behind. And I love every film that Tarantino has made since Pulp Fiction, but I think Django is my favorite since Pulp Fiction. I love this movie. It's absolutely hilarious, but it's also insanely intense at times, too. It's just a great movie. Tarantino did a great job with that one, and I loved it. It is now time for my favorite film of 2012, Moonrise Kingdom. This was one of my first times experiencing a Wes Anderson film, and I was just blown away by how different and how bizarre it was. I just loved this movie. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. You got some great performances from everyone, but especially the children in this movie. They carry this movie, and that really impressed me. They did fantastic jobs. I've shown this film to just about everybody since it came out on Blu-ray. I love this film. I've seen it multiple times, and it's just as good as the first time I saw it. I was so surprised by this little movie, and it's one of my favorite films now. I just really adore this one. It's so adorable, and it's relatable because we've all been children before, and it was such a good movie, and I think it was really well done too. Wes Anderson did a fantastic job on it. The direction, the symmetry, everything looks great. It looks like a painting. Every frame of this film looks like a painting. It's just so pretty, and it's a great movie. I really loved it. Moonrise Kingdom. There you go. So that's my top 10 list of 2012, but there's definitely some films that I think could have been on that list. There was just so many good movies this year. So here's my honorable mentions. I'm not going to go into these in detail because there's like 6 of them, but The Raid Redemption is one of them. I really like this film. It was an Indonesian action movie. It's one of the most violent films I've ever seen. It's really good. I did a full review on that one. You can go check that out. And then 21 Jump Street. I own this, obviously. I really like this movie. It's one of my favorite comedies of the year. It's a really funny film. I've seen it multiple times. Really good. If you haven't seen it, go check that one out. And then Silver Linings Playbook. I really love this film. It was really hard for me not to put it on my top 10. Great performances from Jennifer Lawrence, Bradley Cooper, and Robert De Niro. I mean, it's a really good movie, and if you haven't seen it, go check it out. They just released it wide, so it's at most theaters now. I also did a full review on that one as well. I did a full review on most of the movies that were on this list, so I'm going to put a link in the description for all of those, so you can go check those out. Next on my honorable mention list is one that most people are going to get mad at me about, The Avengers. I thought it was a great movie. I really loved it. It was really, really good for what it was. I love Joss Whedon as a director and writer. Great movie, but it's just not on my list. There was other movies that I liked more. But it's definitely worth mentioning because it was really good. I apologize now for those of you that are going to be mad at me for not putting that on my top 10. Really good movie though, and that's why it's on this honorable mention list, because it's worth mentioning. The next film is The Sessions. It's a small independent film about a guy who is handicapped and wants to achieve sexual intercourse. Yes, that's a bizarre premise, but it was really well handled and it was done very tastefully, so it's not offensive. It's a really good movie, and it's a very emotional film, and I really liked that one a lot. Anyways, this concludes my best of video. I'm sure some of your picks might be a little bit different. That's totally okay. Let me know what your picks are down below. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel and go check out the reviews for all of those movies that I just talked about. And also, what's your most anticipated film of 2013? Comment and let me know. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in 2013. Well, it's already 2013, but yeah.
Bye.